This question asks us, which product of binomials shows the complete factorization of r cubed plus 2r squared minus 9r minus 18? So here they're looking for factorization, so that must mean I need to factor, and those are my factored answer choices. And they said complete, so I need to make sure I keep factoring until I can't factor anymore. Now, looking at our polynomial, I see that we have 4 terms here, so I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can factor this by grouping the first 2 terms together and the second 2 terms together, and see if they have any greatest common factor, and then if they have anything in common after that, then I'm going to continue to factor. So looking at just those first 2 terms, I see that they both have an r squared in common, so I'm going to go ahead and factor an r squared out of both terms. In that first term, that would leave me with an r and then a plus, only a 2 would be left. So remember, when we're factoring, it's like we're going backwards from distributing multiplication. So if I went ahead and I distributed these things out, then of course I would get back the same thing. Now moving on to the second group of 2, I want to see if they have anything in common. I see that they're both negative, so perhaps I can factor out a negative sign, and then I also see that 9 goes into 18, so I'm going to try factoring out a negative 9. That would leave me with r in that third term, and in that last term I would need a plus 2. So if I think about, if I went and distributed that multiplication out here, that would give me negative 9r, and then that would give me negative 18, so that works. Now I see that we have 2 very long terms, and they both have r plus 2 in common in both this long term and this second long term. That means I can factor it out. So I've got r plus 2 is common in both of those, and what that would leave over would be r squared and a minus 9, so it was outside of those parentheses. So I see now that we know we have an r plus 2 as one of those factors. So I know that needs to be a part of my answer. So I can eliminate a at this point. Now I want to see, I see this as quadratic, and perhaps I can factor that a little bit more. Now whenever I see an r squared and then no r and then a number, sometimes I just think of those as r squared plus 0 r's minus 9. So since that's a quadratic trinomial, I want to think about busting the b. So when I think about a times c, that would be 1 times negative 9, so that's negative 9. And I want to add to 0, so when I bust the b, I get r squared. And then I think of the 2 numbers that multiply to negative 9, add to 0, that'd be positive 3. So I'm going to break this up into positive 3r and actually negative 3r. And then when I group these 2 terms together and then these 2 terms together and see what I can factor out of there, I'd have r, so this is r plus 3. And then in that second group I can take out a negative 3, that would leave me with r plus 3 here. And then the same kind of strategy, we have r plus 3 in common, so that is a factor, and what is left over is r minus 3. Therefore, I know that my factors are r plus 2, r plus 3, and r minus 3. So therefore I can say, that is number right there. So C, and then I want to go to my answer sheet and make sure that I bubble that in. Now, if you don't remember how to factor or you get stuck, remember you could work this problem backwards since it is multiple choice. So if I really get stuck factoring, then what I could do is go ahead and multiply all these answer choices out and see what gives me the same answer.